Welcome everyone to Inner Peace Unlocked. Today, Jane, we're diving deep into a topic that honestly touches every single one of us: suffering. It's a universal human experience, isn't it? Every living being seems to face countless troubles and difficulties, and it makes you wonder, where does it all come from?
Absolutely, John. It's something we all grapple with, from the smallest annoyance to the deepest heartbreak. And for a long time, I used to think my problems were always external. Bad luck, other people's actions, circumstances beyond my control. But the more I've reflected, the more I've come to understand that so much of it, the real suffering, actually comes from within. It's the suffering of the heart, as they say.
That's such a profound distinction, isn't it? Because there are certainly external challenges, things that happen to us. But our response to those things, the internal turmoil, the anguish, that's where the real pain often takes root. It's not the event itself, but our mind's interpretation and reaction to it.
Exactly. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same difficult situation, say losing a job. One might be devastated, feeling like their world has ended, spiraling into despair. The other might see it as a difficult but ultimately temporary setback, an opportunity to pivot, to learn. The external event is the same, but their internal experience, their suffering, is vastly different.
That's a brilliant example. And it brings us to another fascinating aspect of this. Some difficulties, we're often told, can be resolved with the help of the divine, or enlightened beings. We pray, we seek guidance, we feel a sense of relief or intervention. But then there are those other difficulties that seem to be squarely on our own shoulders, that we must solve.
Oh, definitely. I've certainly had moments where I've just poured my heart out, prayed for a miracle, and felt like something shifted, a path opened up, or a burden was lifted. But then there are those deeply ingrained patterns, those recurring issues, or even consequences of our own past actions that no amount of prayer seems to immediately fix. It's like, okay, Jane, this one's on you.
Right. And in many spiritual traditions, that's often attributed to what we call karmic debts or causes. It's the idea that there are things so deeply tied to our own actions and choices that even the immense power of Buddhas or immortals, as some traditions would say, cannot simply erase them. You have to bear them, confront them, and ultimately resolve them yourself.
That's a tough pill to swallow sometimes, isn't it? Because who doesn't want a quick fix, an easy way out? But it also puts the power back in our hands in a way. It says, yes, this is your burden, but you also have the capacity to work through it and grow from it.
Exactly. It's about responsibility and agency. And speaking of things we have to resolve ourselves, a huge source of hardship, as the teachings tell us, is when people remain stubborn and deluded, when the mind simply cannot see clearly, when we become attached to things and just refuse to let go. That's when suffering really compounds.
Oh, I can relate to that on such a deep level. I've definitely been guilty of holding on to things, grudges, expectations, even just an idea of how things should be, long after they've stopped serving me. And that stubbornness, that refusal to adapt or see another perspective, just locks you into a cycle of pain. It's like you're holding on to a hot coal thinking it's going to somehow magically cool down.
That's a perfect analogy, Jane. We've all experienced that pain in our hearts, that feeling of intense torment before we finally, sometimes reluctantly, let go. But once we do, once that attachment is severed, even just a little bit, the heart often finds a profound sense of peace and even joy. It's like a weight has been lifted.
It really is. But that intense torment part is the kicker, right? It's not easy. It feels like you're losing a part of yourself, even if that part is causing you nothing but misery. It takes courage to look at something you're clinging to and decide to release it.
It absolutely does. And it's at those times, when we're in the thick of that torment, that the teachings suggest we can speak our heart to heaven, not just as a passive plea, but as an active engagement with a higher principle, or even with our own deepest wisdom. But crucially, it's not just about speaking out. It's also about turning inwards.
Right, the self-reflection part, to understand where the problem lies and why it happened. Because just complaining about the suffering doesn't actually solve anything. You have to dig into the roots. Why am I reacting this way? What attachment is causing this pain? What's my role in this situation?
Exactly. Nothing appears without reason. Everything has its origin and cause. And sometimes, the origin isn't as obvious as we think. It might be a deeply ingrained belief, a past trauma, or even just a misunderstanding that we've carried with us for years. Unpacking that requires honest, sometimes uncomfortable, introspection.
That's so true. And it really brings us to the next point, choosing a path. If you decide to listen to these kinds of teachings, to walk what some call the path of the Tao, you've got to do it sincerely and steadily. It's not a casual stroll, is it?
No, it's not a casual stroll at all. It requires commitment. Because if you choose the wrong goal, or if your approach isn't sincere, you can become utterly lost. The teachings warn about getting lost in the cycle of rebirth, or the six realms, and losing the way back home. That would be truly tragic, wouldn't it?
Tragic beyond words. It's like embarking on a long journey without a compass, or with the wrong destination plugged into your GPS. You'll expend all this energy, make all these sacrifices, only to find yourself further away from where you truly want to be. And home here, I think, refers to that inner peace, that sense of genuine belonging and harmony.
Precisely. And for those who choose to not just walk this path, but also to cultivate and spread the Tao, there's an even deeper layer of responsibility. You have to truly understand its principles, how to act, how to practice, how to respond to people and situations. It's not just intellectual understanding, it's embodied wisdom.
Oh, this part is so crucial. Because it's easy to read a book or listen to a podcast like ours and think you understand. But then life throws you a curveball, and how you actually respond under pressure, that's the real test. And a huge part of that is about not harboring selfishness or bias.
That's it, Jane. When the mind is clouded by selfishness or prejudice, one's vision becomes completely obscured. You're no longer seeing things as they are, but as you want them to be, or how they serve your ego. It's a fundamental distortion.
And it makes you a terrible guide. If you're trying to share these profound truths with others, but you're secretly thinking, this will make me look good, or this will earn me some kind of merit, people will absolutely sense that. They'll know your heart isn't pure.
Exactly. They'll sense those ulterior motives. And when that happens, their hearts close. The message, no matter how true, won't land. It won't resonate. Because the intention behind the delivery is just as important as the content itself.
So, it all comes back to treating others with fairness and sincerity. If you truly believe in the path you're sharing, if you're truly cultivating these principles within yourself, it will shine through. And that's when people are truly open to hearing what you have to say, because they feel that genuine, selfless intention.
It's a powerful lesson, isn't it? That the path to inner peace, and the ability to truly help others find theirs, begins with deep self-reflection, letting go of attachments, and purifying our own intentions. It's not about avoiding hardship entirely, but about understanding its true source, and navigating it with wisdom and a clear heart.
It's a journey for sure, and one that requires constant practice and patience with ourselves. But the promise of a peaceful, joyful heart, free from the torment of attachment and delusion, that's a goal absolutely worth striving for. And remember, when you're struggling, reflect within, but also speak your heart to the divine. There's power in both.
Beautifully said, Jane. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Inner Peace Unlocked. We hope today's discussion has offered some valuable insights into the nature of suffering and the path to resolving it from within. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. Keep reflecting, keep letting go, and keep walking that path with sincerity. Until next time, take care of your hearts.